What's up, kings, queens, and everything between? Welcome back to another episode, One Time for a Good Time. And for today's episode, I have a lot to talk about that's been on my mind regarding mental health. Like, just talking about why mental health isn't talked about enough. What causes people to have such a stigma behind it that we can't open up a dialogue about this? I saw a homeless person the other day, and me and my friend was thinking, what is it that gets these people to the point where they literally have nothing? You know, a lot of people that are homeless have something, and something happens in their lives and they end up on the streets, or things happen. And I was like, I think it is mental health. You have to realize the resources that are out there is for when you are down bad and you have nowhere else to go. Yes, there's therapy, but there's not a lot of options where you can go when your mind is spiraling. It's always like the suicide hotline. It's like, call this when you're standing on a bridge and ready to jump. But it's like, what about all those months and years and days before I got to that point? And even with therapy, not everybody can afford that. Not everybody have insurance or places they can go to get that help that they need. And if they do find like a forum or a group chat or places like that, they're not always helpful, and they're not always professionals. Most of the times it's people that just want to help others and just talk to people and give them a place where they can rant. But it's not a therapist where they can sit down and be diagnosed and actually have their problems walked through. It's a place where people can have an ear to talk to, and it's worrisome because as a person that has struggled with mental health, like, I see how these people get to this point. Like, I feel like with environment, like with family, there's some people, especially I know in the Black community, it's just not the thing to go to somebody and say, hey, I'm going through something. Hey, I'm feeling this. Hey, today's not my day. I've had situations where I told people I love them and their response was, what you want? Or I have situations where I ask somebody, how you doing mentally? And they be like, why? And then you ask them, why are you asking me that? And they'll be like, well, because I'm not like that. I wasn't raised like that. And then it's me counteracting and being like, don't you think that's a problem that I can't come to you and ask you how you doing mentally? Or don't you think there's a problem that I can't say I love you and you not automatically have the idea that I want something from you? And this is how it is in many communities out there, where you can't say something relating to mental health or to emotion or expressing yourself without somebody thinking there's an ulterior motive. Every time I ever came to somebody and just straight up said, I love you, how you doing mentally, what's going on, you got depression, there's always this shock look on their face of, what does this person want? Why are they asking me this? Or, damn, I never had somebody literally ask me, how am I doing mentally? And that's a problem in our society. That is me personally. With this podcast, I feel like I don't feel like I'm scared to say everything I want to say, because I know subconsciously that in the future, let's say when thousands and thousands of people are listening to this show, this could, it could potentially make me lose opportunities. It could potentially make me lose great things in my life because people could listen to my podcast episodes and automatically assume something's wrong with her, automatically assume that's a angry Black woman, or label that's crazy or whatever, just for me expressing that I have mental health issues. There are people out there and organizations out there that don't even want to associate with you if you are letting it known that you have something wrong with you, and that's a problem. Like, I should never have that thought of, I can't say this, or I have to censor myself because I might miss out on future opportunities. And that happens all the time, not only with me, but with millions of people across the world. They truly feel like I can't talk about, or I have to hide my mental illnesses because people don't want to associate with me because of what I have or what I'm going through. And that's a fucking problem. And I should be able to still do my job, or I should be able to still get an opportunity even if I have depression or even if I have anxiety. It makes me mad that people associate mental illness as being crazy or being lazy or being a liability. I'm not a liability when it comes to my mental health. And because of that, and because of having that stigma attached to me, I've had people be like, damn, I never even knew you was depressed. I never even knew you was going through these things internally because you never gave off that persona. And I always had to think to myself, I couldn't give off that persona. I couldn't tell you guys how I was feeling because you would have treated me differently. Mental illness is a thing. It is a normal thing. It's something that everybody doesn't want. But it makes you feel crazy when you can't openly talk about, or you don't have the opportunity or resources to go to somebody and say, hey, I'm going through this. Hey, I have depression. I have this, I have this, I have this. And not be looked at as somebody that's going to go off the rails and shoot up the place. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. And I was telling somebody, it's lonely. It's so fucking lonely when you're going through all these internal battles and you're having things happen to you, and then the moment you blow up and you explain what the fuck's been going on for maybe the last couple years of your lives, people think you're crazy. And I was trying to tell somebody, your reality and my reality is two different things. And it's like, just because you think something is a certain way doesn't mean I feel that same way. So when I'm getting upset because you're not talking to me or you're doing this or doing this, it's like automatically saying, don't feel that way, or don't think like that, or it isn't like that. And it's like, you can't tell somebody how to feel, and especially with somebody with mental illness, because the moment you're saying don't feel like that, or it's not like that, or you're thinking too much into it, you're making that person feel like something is wrong with them because they can't express because they can't say what they're feeling. If I come to you as a person and say, listen, it might not be like this, it might not be how it is, or the situation might not be that, but it's my reality, and I should be able to come to you as a person and say, hey, I'm going through this, or I feel like this, and not have you say, well, it's not like that. Because now I'm thinking, why can't I feel this way? Why are you invalidating my feelings to make yourself feel more comfortable? And you're right, it could not be like that, but it's my reality. And it's making me upset. And now you're making me feel like I can't tell you how the fuck I'm feeling, because now I know all you're going to tell me is it's not like that and don't feel like that. That is the worst thing you can do to somebody with a mental illness problem, is keep telling them don't think like that, or it's not like that, or invalidate how the fuck they're feeling. That's the whole problem now, is because we already feel bad about ourselves. We're already hating ourselves internally. So when you're giving us that toxic positivity on the outside, thinking that you're saying something good when you're not, it's really hurting us even more. Because now I'm sitting here thinking, damn, am I mentally fucking myself up? Am I making the interactions hard? Am I the reason people don't want to hang out with me? Am I the reason that I'm going through this shit? And I'm spiraling even more because you're telling me that's invalid. It isn't supposed to be taken that way. But I'm like, I'm telling you how it is supposed to be taken. Now I'm not giving you the chance to change my mind so we can be on the same page. But you immediately just saying it ain't like that is the problem with people with mental illnesses. If we feel like we don't have spaces to say I'm going through some shit and just be heard. Y'all saying, or not y'all, but people just saying these backhanded comments, is like, you're making me feel unheard. And I feel like for me personally, mental illness is being unheard. That's what it is. Mental illness is the equal to being unheard. Because the moment you tell somebody you're going through something, you're taking medicine for something, or you're diagnosed with something, I feel like you're automatically put on the back burner. You're automatically second. And we as a society of mental health feel that it's a lot of us just feel like we're second in everything we do, regardless if it's relationships or events or activities. We always feel second, even though it might not be that way, and it sucks. It sucks to never feel like you're heard. It sucks to never feel like you're on top of the room and you're the first person and you're liked or seen. Me personally, I've never said this before, but I truly feel like I walk on this earth invisible. And I feel like people don't see me unless it's an interaction, unless it's like them physically saying hey to me or giving me a nod. Like, I truly feel like no one sees me. And that's what fucking bothers me, because it's like, why is it that I'm surrounded by all these people and like I'm in a room full of people and I feel like no one sees me? I feel like no one wants to hear who I am, how I am, or when they do, constantly have this fear of, am I going to run this person off? Are they going to like me? Are they going to understand me for who I am? Am I even in a safe space to tell this person I'm this and not immediately just be talked down on or have fake medical advice thrown at because they don't understand how true mental illness works? And it's bothersome because not everybody wants to talk about mental illness. I've been in situations where I've told people I'm depressed, and they have looked at me and say, I'm not the right person to talk about that. I can't talk about that. I don't know how to talk about that. Now I'm thinking, well, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I don't want to put my problems on you, so we're not going to talk about that. And so I'm just sitting here with these thoughts. I don't think people realize how many people go home every single day to themselves and just sit there with their mind. I'm talking about just sit there with their mind and literally get destroyed by every thought, every memory, every situation, and they feel bad about themselves. People don't realize when the door closes, it's like a bomb exploding. And a lot of us are out here are just trying to make it to the next day to survive. It's dangerous. It's hurtful when you have nobody to be able to open yourself up to and to tell them, I need help. I need this. Somebody said, the reason I don't tell people I'm going through something is because what are they going to do? To a certain degree, that's right. What are you going to do? You can't do anything because, something like this, mental health wise, we go through by ourselves. It's an internal thing. A lot of people prefer to get themselves out of that rut. A lot of people prefer to not have a group of people around them. But that doesn't mean that they don't want a support system, because the moment they need to tell somebody or they feel like they should tell somebody, there's no one there. Yes, a lot of situations, especially for me, I was the one to save myself. I had to pull myself out of it, but I had nobody to go to. And we need, as a society, to make more places where we can have people to go to and give them these spaces to be who they are. No one should feel like an outcast. Nobody should feel like a burden. No one should ever be put in situations where they want to tell how they're doing, and that person be like, well, you shouldn't feel that way, or it isn't like that, or you should think differently. That's not helping anybody. And this is why so many people struggle with mental illness, and this is why it is spreading so rapidly, and why so many people are going untreated, because There's nowhere where we can go and say, I'm going through this, especially for men. Men have it so hard. When you are raised and you look at media and you're giving the perception, you have to be strong, you have to be the breadwinner, you have to take on the stress, you have to be the protector. And a man is sitting there thinking, who am I as a man to sit here and say, I am going through something, I am going through this? They don't. Because for many years and years and years, if you couldn't handle your business, if you couldn't take care of your shit, you were weak. Who wants to be labeled that? Everybody that has a mental illness associated with them is labeled weak-minded. Who came up with that term? Why is that even a term? There's so much shit that is thrown at us. I mean, people question why we don't want to live. People question why we the way we are. And why we put on fake smiles and why we give out this fake persona that we're good. Because no one can handle it. And we need to give situations where people can handle it. Me personally, I know I would love to talk to more people that are in the same situation as me. But I don't know, because so many people are hiding it every day. Like I said in another video, I walk the streets every day and wonder, is that person truly okay? Is that person going through something? I do this all the time because especially with the fake smiles I put on over the years and the fake smiles I've seen other people put on, you just never know who is truly good or not. I don't know who's safe or who's not. And I don't know who I could go to rant or to rely on, because, like I said, having a mental illness, you don't want to feel like a burden. So it's this constant toxic cycle of, I want to get help, I need to get help, I need to talk to somebody, but I can't because of X, Y, and Z, because I'll be labeled this, or because I'll miss out on this. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. And this is why I made my podcast, because I want people to have a place where they can come and see that I'm a regular human being, where they can come and see that, oh, this woman is a functioning human being. She's an entrepreneur. She's still going with her life, but she still has room for her mental illness. This is what saves people's lives. Like I told y'all, if you have a voice, if you have something you want to fight for it. Mine is mental health. Because I have saved more people by telling people my story and by telling people I'm going through shit than I would have if I had kept quiet and kept it in by myself. If you are a person, say something. And don't let it get to a point where there is no return. You can't turn back. It's not that hard. Your passion doesn't have to be mental health like mine. It doesn't have to be that. But you don't have to struggle alone. There's plenty of resources out there. You can be a resource. You can be a light in somebody's day. We can all be put in situations where we get help in some type of way. My way of helping is my podcast. My way of helping is my voice. Me talking and trying to connect with the people out there. That is my way of helping. But we got to do something different so that everybody can get to a point where I shouldn't have to help anymore. I shouldn't have to make episodes every day talking about these situations, and people can go and get the help they need and get therapy that's affordable, or go to group chats and forums where they can actually heal. No one heals with mental illness. We just survive. And I'm tired, as a person with mental illness and a person that watches mental illness all the time, I'm tired of surviving. I want to get to a point where I can coexist with what the fuck I have and keep pushing. So if you're listening to this out there, I ask you, Stop making people feel like an outcast. Stop making people feel unheard. Listen, open up an ear, and just be a fucking human being and be kind. That's all I ask. It's not that fucking hard. And if you think that's a situation, then maybe you need to relook at yourself as a person. It's not that hard to be a good person, guys. It's not that hard to make a change. If you have a voice, say something. If you're feeling something, say something. And if you're in a situation where you feel like you can't open up, or if you're in an environment where it's so toxic that you can't be who you are, break through those damn walls and keep going. Seriously. Because we're not going to change the homeless epidemic. We're not going to change the mental health situation if we keep quiet. We need to talk, and everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves to live the life they want. And us just disregarding people and not wanting to help people is going to cause homelessness. It's going to cause suicides. It's going to cause self-harm. Speak up. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.